Hey guys, welcome to another video where I share with you a step-by-step guide on building all sorts of AI multi-agent workflows to automate business processes. In today's video, let's learn how to build the ultimate web page audit generator with AI, with which you can provide any website, and this system can provide a comprehensive audit for that website depending on its category. So whether it's an e-commerce product page or a landing page or any other type of website that you want to provide an audit for, this AI workflow will have a dedicated different criteria to evaluate it. So at the end of the video, you can have a system like this to use across any websites that you have, or you can publish it as a form to put on your website or share with others so that your audience and clients can use the tool themselves. And then after you have built something like this, next time you got a new website to do an audit for, all you need to do is start a new run, provide the necessary information about that website, like its screenshot and its link like this. Click continue, and the workflow will do the audit for you. First, it starts with a validation step to make sure the website is a valid website and it belongs to the two categories that we can handle. Then it will route the request to the correct evaluation criteria. In this case, this workflow has correctly identified that the screenshot I uploaded belongs to an e-commerce product page. So it's routing my request to the e-commerce product page path here. And then the e-commerce product page audit would take the website that I have provided to execute a comprehensive audit process for this. So it starts with auditing the product information of this e-commerce product page here. All the information like pricing, availability, status, etc. And highlight some areas for improvement I can improve in this case, such as the order status or a sizing chart or like contrasting color for the call to action. So different things I can improve in terms of product information for my e-commerce product page. Then it can provide feedback for the visual elements in this case too. So it does the analysis across different aspects, visual aspects, and make some solid recommendations, such as consider using icons or graphics or implementing a zoom feature and more. And then it audits the call to action in this case, as well as give me some feedback and suggestions for the improvement of the call to action of my web page, auditing the user engagement features and trust signals, then the SEO of the web page, as well as compile all of this information in reports to give me all of the actionable steps I can do to improve my product page. The cool thing about this is that this workflow would adapt based on the user request. So in this example here, I'm using a product page, e-commerce product page screenshot, but if I'm using another website, like a landing page instead, it will use a different criteria. And if I upload something that doesn't belong to either of these categories, it will stop the workflow to make sure that the workflow doesn't consume any AI credits unnecessarily because the input of end user is not qualified. Let's get into building. I will show you exactly how you can build this yourself and how you can further customize it so that it fits exactly your requirements. Before we jump into building, I have a little diagram here that will visualize the system from a high-level perspective so that you understand what we are gonna build today. So we are going to build a web page audit generator that can provide tailored feedback for different types of websites. In this case, I'm taking two most common types of websites here, e-commerce product page and landing page. But I know there are many other types of website, and depending on your requirements, you can add more types of website here. So the logic will and the process would be very similar regardless of how many types of websites you want to provide audit for. Okay, so this workflow would take in first the screenshots and the URL of the web page we are wanting to provide the feedback for. Then it will first have a validation step to make sure that a web page really belongs to the categories that we can process. And if it doesn't, it will stop the workflow here. But if it is, then it will keep going on to the next step. In the next step, it will categorize the website, because we are going to have different processes for websites. We need this router process to determine which category this web page belongs to, and then route it to the right process here. If it's an e-commerce product page, we would have this product page audit generator workflow to audit these different aspects that I have shown you before too. But if it's a landing page, instead, it would have a different set of criteria, including design, copywriting, storytelling, SEO, as well as a final step that compile all of the feedback into a report of actionable suggestions for the user. Now, one thing to note for this system is that this is just how I'm thinking about this system. This is fully customizable, so feel free to make any changes to it if you want. For example, if you want to collect more information than just the screenshots and the URL, for example, you may want to collect information about a business's target audience or key offerings. You can add them here too. Or if you want to do some other step first, any other steps here, you can add these steps to the process too. So for example, maybe before we jump into the audit process, we may have a step to analyze the target audience of the website first. So to provide some mental framework for the AI to understand the target audience in this case, so that it can tailor its feedback according to the target audience for each web page. If that's the case, then you can totally add another step here. For example, before we jump into we go into the validation step. And as I have said, if you have more types of website, you want to provide audit in this case to provide more flexibility for this generator, you can also add more types of website into this. Now, another thing that is worth noting is that I'm actually thinking about using soft flow for each of these feedback generator processes. So that means I will have a big workflow to audit the web page here that will help me to categorize and route the request. But then when it comes to the actual auditing process, I'm gonna build two separate workflows, one for e-commerce product page audit and another one for landing page feedback, and I nest them here inside this big workflow. The reason why I want to use soft flow in this case is because I think that there may be a lot of chances where I just want to go ahead into the auditing for a specific website or specific like link that I have without having to go through all of these steps. The reason why I only need these steps when I start sharing this web page audit generator with others, in which case I cannot control what kind of websites they put into this workflow. So I have this step first to navigate the user to the right workflow. But if I'm having a specific website I want to get the audit report for, I would know exactly what kind of website is that, right? So I can just go ahead, skip all of these steps and just find the e-commerce product page audit workflow or the landing page feedback generator workflow and use them right away individually. So having these processes as a separate workflow would make it more convenient for me to use individual processes when I need. And I can still connect them all together into this big workflow. So I think that's a better approach in this case. So with that said, let's go into IO and start turning this system to life. Okay, let's open your MyPal workspace, go to workflows, and start a new workflow. Now, I think we should start with the giant workflows first. In this case, these two workflows. We will build them and then we will connect them together into a third parent workflow. Okay, so first let's build this e-commerce product page audit generator workflow. On MyPal, you don't actually have to do the setup manually. You can just screenshot process like this or describe this process in plain English. Click Generate with AI and let MyPal handle the initial setup for you. So based on my screenshot, it's suggesting the setup of my e-commerce product page audit generator here with all the aspects that I need. This is quite good. It is quite close actually, but I also want the first step here to request input from human, not just for product page URL, but also some screenshots if possible. So the more information available, the more accurate and comprehensive the feedback could be. So let me go back to regenerate and add some clarification. Collect the URL and screenshots at the first step. So the AI powered setup can take both this screenshot and this clarification from mine into account when setting up this system. So let's try again. And now, yeah, I think it's pretty good. So this workflow would first collect the link and the screenshots of the product page. Then it audits product information, visual elements, call to action, engagement features, trust signals, SEO, as well as provide the actionable suggestions in the last step. So this is exactly what I want. The last thing I would need to do before moving on is that I can actually assign a proper agent to execute each of these steps. So each of these steps will be executed by a specific agent of my choice. Actually, you can leave all of these agent fields as blank if you don't have any existing AI agent in your workspace readily to take this job. But if you leave it blank, MyPal will handle the setup of these agents for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But in case you already have one, you can actually assign that agent to execute these steps for you. I don't think I have an existing agent for this yet, but I want to use the same AI agent to execute all of these steps because these steps are quite similar. I would require the same set of instructions at background. Like I just need an AI agent specialized in evaluating and optimizing e-commerce product page. And then I just like each of these steps just give different assignment to the same agent to evaluate different aspects of the website. So what I can do is that I can create a new agent like this. Actually, this agent focuses on product information specifically. You can create a dedicated agent for each aspect too, but I don't think that's necessary. I think just one agent specialized for e-commerce product page audit is enough. So I'm gonna regenerate and I just provided this an overall job of auditing e-commerce product page like this. So the background of this agent is that it would be an expert in e-commerce optimization, etc., which is good. But the output format in this case, I think I can leave it as blank because I don't have specific exact output format I expect out of this agent. The output format would specify in each workflow. So each workflow step would focus on a different aspect. So the output format in this case is not fixed, so I can leave it as blank. But if you want to provide any other instructions to this agent, like you want this agent to provide the feedback in a table, for example, or something like that, you can specify your instructions in this case, okay? And then in the model settings, I think lately I have really enjoyed using Claude 3.7 Sonnet, so I can use Claude 3.7 Sonnet in this case. And then let's create this agent, and then assign that exact agent for every single step in this case. Okay, now I think that's it. My workflow for e-commerce product page is ready, so I can create that and save the workflow. So this is a builder of that workflow where you can take a closer look into the setup of every single step here and make further adjustments if needed. So for example, in the first step, collecting URL and screenshots, I can actually make the product page URL as optional. For example, maybe I just required this. Okay, let me reorder this again. Let me put the screenshots in the first place. So I may want just require the user to provide screenshots. For the URL, it is optional. If they provide it, that's great. If they don't, that's fine too. And then I can customize a couple more things, like for example, how many images I want to accept as maximum. I think I want to accept like at most 5 images. I can give 5 here too. Or the link, it may be max 1. I can give 1 here too. And then for each of these steps, my e-commerce product page audit generator agent will audit each of these aspects. And then also each of these steps will get the product page link and screenshots from the first step. Now, actually, I'm seeing that this agent, this step currently only has access to the link, but I think the product page screenshots is also very important. So I'm gonna use this to mention the product page screenshots from this step too. So just to make sure that this agent has all the information needed to perform a good feedback for product information. And I will make sure all the other steps also have access to both the link and the screenshots here. So let me just copy these variables into all of these steps. The variables that you are seeing here is the method MyPal uses to enable the data passing between each of these steps. So by referring to the human input value like this, or the output of previous steps like this, you can let all of these steps like talk to each other and build up from each other's responses. Okay, and in this last step actually don't really need the screenshots and the links. Its job is to generate actionable suggestions to improve the product page. So it can just have access to all of these audit reports from the previous steps and combine them all together. So that's why this step has all of these green variables. So green signaling that these variables coming from other AI steps. So that's it. I think our e-commerce product page audit generator is ready. So let us move on to the next giant workflow, which is the landing page feedback generator workflow. I'm gonna screenshot this too, and then go to workflows, start a new workflow, paste that screenshot of the landing page feedback generator. Make sure to clarify that you need to collect the link and the screenshots of the web page, and then click generate with AI to let AI handle the setup for me. So similar to the e-commerce product page generator, this also collects input from human for the links and the screenshots of the landing page, then providing audit reports across these criteria: design, copywriting, storytelling, SEO, as I have specified in the screenshot, as well as combine all of these into a final report of actionable suggestions here. This is pretty good, so I don't have to make any changes to this, but I do want to like a specialized AI agent for landing page feedback generator. Actually, this agent focuses on design, but I want it to be like more overall agent, suggesting feedback to landing pages in general, not one specific aspect like design. So I can actually regenerate that, or I can show you a tip. You can actually just provide some initial background here, like for example, audit landing pages, and click enhance with AI. MyPal will help you to improve the setup of your agent so that it will be better for you. For the output format, similar to my e-commerce product page feedback generator agent, I will leave it as blank and also assign an agent to this. So for example, maybe instead of Cloud 3.7 Sonnet, I can use O3 for this if I want. So let's click create. Okay, now let's tie that agent to every single step here. So it will help me to provide feedback across different aspects as well as combine all into a report of actionable suggestions. Now let's save this workflow. Here is the workflow builder where you can further customize if needed. I think there's just one thing I want to customize in this case, that is to make landing page screenshots as the default, as the only required input in this case, similar to my product page generator, e-commerce product page feedback generator. I'm gonna make link as optional and then move this landing page screenshots to the top. Let me try again. Okay, let me try again here. Okay, it's saved. So now let me quickly check if yes. So in this workflow, each of these steps already have, so the design has access to both link, landing page URL and the screenshots, but this doesn't. So I think I can paste this to make sure that each step has both inputs so that it can provide the feedback. This is especially needed because we have made the URL optional. So that means there may be cases where the URL is absent. So we still need to provide both inputs to each of these steps so that the landing page auditor can have the information needed to generate the audit for us. And then in the final step, it will combine all of these outputs from the last 4 steps into a final report, which is good enough. I think we are done with 2 giant workflows, soft workflows we are using in our system. Now, the last step is for us to assemble both workflows into one big workflow that we can use. Let me go back to the workflow and start a new workflow and setting up the initial structure of this big workflow in this case. Now, right now, MyPal Generate with AI feature support router nodes yet. So I can get started with the first 2 steps in this case, the human input collection step at first and the validation step. And then I can add the router node later on inside the workflow builder. So let me quickly screenshot this and then paste it here. Make sure that the AI know that this is a web page audit generator. Yeah, I think this is good enough. So let me save this workflow and further customize here. So this workflow has 2 steps already: collecting the web page data, the screenshots, which the user can upload up to 5, and the link, which is optional, and the user can upload up to 1. And then it will first check the processable category, determine if the web page data is a processable category on the provided screenshots and links. But I need to make sure the AI know how I define a processable category in this case. Both categories, we have 2 processable categories: landing page or e-commerce product page. So if a web page doesn't belong to either of these types, it will need to stop. And then in the next step, I would need a router node to route the request to the correct subflow to process this web page. So let me call this categorizer, and the routing logic is that route the request to the correct category processing path. And in this case, I would need to define the two paths in this case. The two paths that I'm having is these two types of the workflow. So let me create one path for the e-commerce and one path for the landing page. Add another subflow. And you can see that actually I'm adding these two paths with a subflow node. That's because with this node, I can call the two workflows we have just built into this parent workflow. So first, let me call the e-commerce product page audit generator here. And let me call this e-commerce product page path. And then in this second workflow, this would be a landing page path. And I will call my landing page feedback generator workflow here. Then in the categorizer router, make sure I add these two paths so that the AI would know what are its options, the path options. One is e-commerce product page. If the web page is categorized as an e-commerce product page. And then the next node would be landing page. If the web page is categorized as a landing page. And then so route the request to the correct category processing path. Make sure, depending on its category, on the user provided web page category. So, and I need to provide what are the user provided web page in this case, so that the router can decide its path. So these are the screenshots and the URL of the web page uploaded by the user, and the router can decide based on this. If it's a web page, go here. If it's a landing page, go here. Now, another thing I need to do is that inside each of these subflows, I can actually preview the initial human input fields in this case, because URL and the screenshots here are already provided in the first step of this big workflow. So we shouldn't ask the user to enter this information again. Instead, we can preview the initial input fields of this subflow, so that these input fields will be automatically populated and the user won't have to re-enter things again. Now, the product page URL here would come from the collect web page data step URL field, and the screenshots would come from this screenshots field. So this is great. I would do the same thing for landing page feedback generator too. This is the URL, and this is the screenshots. So now that my input is valid, I can start using this right away. And on MyPal, there are two ways you can use this system. Either start a new run right within your MyPal workspace, and you can invite your team members to the workspace so that they can use this workflow built by you too. Or you can publish this workflow as a form and share with anyone else that may not have a MyPal account, and they can start using it right away without having to sign in or up. So I can try publishing this as a form and show you how it works. So by turning this on, I can have two share options here. Share this web page audit generator as a link or as an iframe. For now, let's try this link and open this instead. Okay, this is a web page audit generator. I can provide some screenshots. I think I can provide screenshots of my own website, MyPal, and link. Now, the link here, I actually have the link of MyPal website, so I can enter that too. And then I can click continue. Now, the first step is to check for check processable category. So I have this gate node to decide whether these images are valid and belong to the two categories that we can handle. In this case, it indicates that this is a landing page of MyPal, which is a processable category. So it moves on to the categorizer step, which route my request to the landing page feedback generator here. And then in this landing page feedback generator helps it. As you can see, it is calling the landing page feedback generator workflow, the sub workflow that I have built, and it also have pre-populated the inputs for me. So I can double check this if I want, and then click continue so that this landing page feedback generator workflow will do its job. And as you can see, because this sub workflow is designed for auditing landing pages, it's using a different set of criteria compared to in the beginning of the video where I'm using an e-commerce product page. In this case, it's auditing the design, the copywriting, storytelling, SEO, and then all of this feedback into a final report that suggests some actionable steps for me to take to improve my website. And that's it. In just less than an hour, I have already built a robust system to generate comprehensive audits for any web pages. And now I can use this system as an internal productivity tool for my team, or I can publish it as a form, put it on my website, and invite my audience and clients to start using it. So I will leave the link to this workflow in the video's description in case you want to duplicate it into your workspace on MyPal for further customization. It's completely free, so go ahead and try building this yourself and let me know if you have any questions. For now, take care and I will see you in my next videos.